Hey everyone, Voltage here from the attic, and today we're talking about a new update to the micro modules for the Voltage Modular environment. We are releasing 9 new modules, including 2 very exciting new oscillators, which are unique to the micro module. So definitely want to check those out. And because we have a lot of ground to cover, I think it's best to just get into the Voltage Modular and check everything out. So let's go. Welcome to the shorthand video. If you want to have the full details on every module, check out the long format video, which will also be uploaded to my channel. In this video, we will just keep it short and to the point. We are releasing 9 new modules. Let's start with the utility category with a trigger sync. Trigger sync allows you to either send triggers or set triggers. And these triggers will only be sent out once the main trigger is sent. So if you don't send the main trigger, the triggers will just stay in the buffer until that main trigger is sent. This can be useful to sync things up when there are small delays between routings. You can clock everything to a single clock and have things going nice and in sync. We have the utility delay, which is a very optimized delay, specifically made for CV. It works best with either stepped CV or not modulated CV, because it's not made for high-speed modulation. This is a very useful module to have small CV delays sent to different parts of your patch without having to spend the full CPU power of a full delay. Micro Boolean allows you to use Boolean logic in Voltage Modular. It has an input with a threshold. Everything under the threshold will be considered a false signal. Everything above the threshold will be considered a true signal. The threshold can be modulated to your wishes. And underneath you have the different Boolean operators and, or, not and, not or exclusive or. This module can run both at LFO rates, slow rates, or also at audio rates with a quality switch to make sure that it is more suitable for audio needs. Moving on to the sequencers we're adding, we have the scale degree sequencer. Scale degree sequencer allows you to choose a scale and a mode, and you can then set the odds of any of the degrees being triggered. Whenever you fire a trigger, one of the degrees will be selected depending on your chances. If you set just one, the chance will be 100% that node will be triggered. And once you start to add more degrees, you will see the chances change. The bracketed number gives you the percentage chance that a trigger will happen. So for instance, here we have a 25%-ish chance for the third degree trigger, while there is a 74% chance the first degree will trigger. Great little tool to create random melodies or random bass lines where you have a bit of control over how often one of the degrees will trigger. Moving on to the next sequencer, the probabilistic trigger sequencer. Here you can set a chance for any of the steps to happen. This allows you to create some random trigger values. So every time you trigger it, it will move down one step. And there's a chance it will either fire a trigger or it won't, depending on the setting you set. So with this, there's a 50-50% chance. You can also give it a 100% chance or a 0% chance to create some interesting rhythms. And this can also be very useful when doing melodies, because you can add some randomness, but you can also keep it somewhat stable with the 100% chance triggers. The next sequencer is the trigger humanizer. Now this trigger humanizer is only about the time. It's not about the gain. For the gain you can use the CV sequencer. For the time you have two parameters for every step because it just steps through. You have a set delay for every step, which can go from 0 to 170 milliseconds. And you also get a randomization from that value. Now this is great to add a little bit of random to every step. And with the RNG speed, you can set the amount of randomness. If you set the RNG speed very high, every step will get a very random new value added. If you put it all the way down, there will be a random value selected, and it will basically stay the same for every time you go through the sequence. Moving over to the effects, we have added LoFi delay. LoFi delay is a delay, as it says, but this delay is based on the concept of old school delays having a fixed delay buffer length. And if you want to make the delay longer, you have to sacrifice the bitrate of your sound signal, so it will degrade the signal. And that's exactly what LoFi delay does as well. It's in stereo, you can change the bitrate to make it even more crusty, and you can add some jitter to the signal to make it a little bit noisy. If you want to keep the time of the delay completely locked to the time parameter, you can turn on the compensation, in which case the reduction will not change the length of the delay time. If you want the full experience, you can turn off the compensation, in which case the reduction will also influence the delay time. Last but definitely not least, we have added two new oscillators. We have the shifting phase oscillator. Now the shifting phase oscillator works with three LFOs, which can be phase shifted with the accompanying parameters, and these can also be automated. The oscillator can be morphed between a sawtooth and a square wave, and when you have some square wave in there, you can also pulse width modulate the square wave. The shifting phase oscillator is great for kind of saw or super saw-like sounds, and you can get some very cool movement out of it. And the last addition is the Bee Swarm Oscillator. Bee Swarm Oscillator is a little bit of a weird thing. It is based off having several voices, oscillator voices in a single oscillator, which can be morphed between square and saw as well. You can add voices and these are faded in, so you can go from 1 to 2 voices fluently, and also using CV. Detune will set how much detune there is between all the different voices, and the speed dictates how quickly that modulation happens. Having the speed all the way up makes it sound less jittery, because it's less audible that there's modulation happening. When you slow the speed down, you will get a nice little pulse out of them. And you can also put the swarm into stereo. And there we go. A lot of new stuff for the micro modules. I think it's definitely one of those updates where you get a lot of utility, but also a lot of cool new little toys to play around with. So it's a cool update. I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions or comments about micro or Voltage Modular, you can leave them down below. Join the Facebook group or join the Discord, and I will see you.